The Thursday night before Leonard Bernstein passed away, I um, I visited him at the Dakota and his where he was living, and I had been warned that it was time to see him, and so this was emotional. Obviously, I mean, I didn't know when he was going to die, or in fact, because of how he looked really well. Um, and I sat by his side at the foot of the bed. And when we were talking, I could see that there were crutches and that obviously he couldn't walk. And but he was very tanned and looked like Leonard Bernstein. And so we hadn't seen each other for a while, and he'd been this and that and here and there, and I've been here and there at that time too. So just was telling him was happening in my life, what was happening in our son's life, because our son is his godson, and so our son Ben was named for Leonard Bernstein, and Lenny was called Ben by his sister and brother, and sometimes Felicia also called him Ben. Um, and because they called him Ben, which was a kind of a childhood Lenny, Benny, Penny kind of thing, so he was Ben. Our son Ben was applying to middle school, and I remember giving him a little update on that and on the restoration of Regina by Mark Blitzstein, which he and I had been working on. And then I told him about this new orchestra that was being created for me in Los Angeles. And he was very excited about that, and we talked about repertory and about all of that. And anyway, when we were done, he said, call me on Monday, baby, I think was the last thing he said. But he died on the Sunday, and and then on Tuesday, when the funeral was, that was the day before the announcement of the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra. So. So my wife and son and I attended the funeral at the Dakota. And when that was over, I went across the street into Central Park to the fields that are there with Jerome Robbins and a few other people. And I got into a cab to go home. My wife went to work. Our son went to school. I packed and left for the airport in the black suit. And the next morning, I was on the stage of the Hollywood Bowl announcing with the Los Angeles Philharmonic Management the creation of this new orchestra. And I remember talking about Lenny and his commitment to bringing music to as many people as possible, and how this new orchestra, I was able to tell him about this just before he died.